Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Rasmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param. Om. Okay, so we carry on our Panchadasi, beginning from verse 63, page 78, the reversal. We have covered last week the verse 62, which is the property of space is sound. Consciousness is soundless. Awareness is soundless. Existence is soundless, because there is nothing other than it. So there is nothing yet to produce a sort of a friction to create something. For sound duality, friction is required. Thus, space has two properties, sound and existence, whereas awareness is only existence. So again, awareness does not have any property or attribute. Awareness and existence are the two names of the same Brahman. Brahman is conscious Satchit, existence, consciousness of limitless nature, okay? So here we put, Vidyaranya says that the property of consciousness or awareness is existence. But no, it's just like two sides of the same coin, okay? The nature of existence is consciousness, and the nature of consciousness is existence. And I have made a subtle distinction last week, because space was presented with a property of accommodation. And then later on in the teachings, if you remember, we could see that that Vidyaranya changed and corrected himself, and he said that the property of space is existence. Okay, it's existence plus, and then he said that it is sound. And he put sound, he replaced accommodation with sound, because sound is indeed a property of space that is passed on to the other elements, okay? But accommodation itself is not passed on, and then I made the point that accommodation is the second nature of space. Okay, it's not a property that can be passed on, but its very nature, which is slightly different from a property of something. Thus, space has two properties, sound and existence, whereas consciousness is only of the nature of limitless existence. When you enclose a space, an echo can be heard. This reveals sound as the property of space. So we know that we have a space, we have a hall. In that hall there is air, of course, but when we say that there is air, we imply that there is space, because air is a byproduct of space, let's say. So for air to exist, we need space. Not every space is going to have air. Sometimes we have a vacuum. So we have a property when we enclose in a hall, and then we can tell that there is such a thing as an echo, that can be heard. You put something on, and then you see that immediately the sound itself produces a sound. The space itself is going to produce a repetition of whatsoever you put in there, or sort of a variation of that. So that reveals that sound is indeed the property of space. Sound is not a third property of space, because existence is not a property, but it is, it's just because existence is just the very nature of everything. Existence is the substance, and then the properties are something else. Indeed, and in fact, space is the property is a byproduct of existence, we can say. Vidyaranya switches accommodation for sound because each succeeding element borrows a property from the succeeding element. Air borrows only sound from space. Air does not borrow the property of accommodation. Okay? Okay. The reversal, verse 63. The power of Maya projects space on the self, creating an apparent duality and reversing the relationship between existence and the objects appearing in existence. So again, Maya Shakti is going to bring about its original, its most primordial configuration, which is space, the container of the universe. So Akasha, this empty space. The power of Maya projects space on the self, creating an apparent duality. So the duality would be then consciousness and then a superimposition of something, or a reflection in the mirror of consciousness of something, such as Akasha, space. And then Maya not only projects it, but it somehow reverses the relationship between existence and the objects appearing in consciousness. Okay, in this case, the object is space. Maya projects space, and then Maya not only with this, it's Maya Shakti, which is much related to Vikshepa, but it has another power that somehow reverses the relationship between consciousness, existence, and space. But it does not really reverse, in fact. It's more like Avarana, makes things a little bit confused and gives us the impression first, that there is a real relationship, and second, that the relationship was reversed. So what does that mean? It means that it appears that existence is something inherent to space, because we say space really exists. Space indeed exists. So it reverses the relationship between existence, which is another name for consciousness, and space. Now we have space, which is an object, belong to a different order, belong to a secondary order, meteor. We have the space, and then Maya makes it so that it appears that space, which is an object, is producing existence itself. Existence is the fundamental substance. Existence is the source of space, but now we have space as it presenting itself with the property of existing. Okay, so in which way Maya does that? We don't exactly know how it does the reversing. Maybe the text, I don't remember, is going to get into that. But it's important for us to understand that there is no real relationship between consciousness and space. And why there is no relationship? It's very simple. If we have the example of the snake and the rope, so we have the rope and we have the snake. So we know that snake was a superimposition, not by Maya Ishvara, but it's from the Jiva, human Jiva projects. It's a pratibhasika projection. It just projects the snake on the rope. Now, what is the relationship between the rope and snake? Is there a relationship between the snake and the rope? For example, is there a relationship between space and the tree that appears in space? Is there a relationship between space and the tree? So in that case, we say, yes, of course, there is a relationship between the space and the tree. Because I saw a space and I saw a tree, and it's obvious that the relationship is such that space accommodates the tree. But then we need to understand that the space and the tree, they both belong to the same order, meaning Mithya, okay? They both belong to Mithya. So there is relationship with everything within Mithya, Everything is relating and impacting and affecting everything else. Okay, this is a relationship. Okay, but between existence and the space, existence and the tree, existence and the cat, that is not really a relationship. You see, space accommodates every other cat, dog, and people like us. But consciousness does not accommodate people, dogs, and trees, and any other thing. So space consciousness does not have any property, does not have any capacity to accommodate anything. Why? Because existence, consciousness, is satya. And satya is one without a second. The only reality is conscious existence. There is nothing other than itself. Therefore, there is no question even of accommodating anything. Therefore, consciousness can never really accommodate anything, cannot really accommodate space, okay? So space can accommodate everything in the universe, and in fact, it does accommodate everything in the universe, but conscious existence does not accommodate anything, and not even space. The same way the rope cannot accommodate the snake. Can the rope accommodate the snake? No, it cannot. Why? Because they belong to two different orders. One is the pratibhasika, which is the rope, this objective reality. And the other is one is the vyavaharika, the rope, and the other is the pratibhasika, which is a superimposition made by the mind of the Jivatma, okay? So another example. So we have two persons, one in the dream state and the one in the waking state. Can those two entities have a real relationship? They cannot, because they belong to two different orders that do not really, you understand? They don't really meet, they don't really, although we say that consciousness is the substratum of Mithya, substratum of the projection of Maya, consciousness does not relate to it because Maya makes a projection which is not really real. You understand? So none of this is really real. What is the relationship between the sand in the desert and the mirage? Is there really a relationship? Oh, yes. So the sand is just holding the waves and the water and the trees and the palm tree. So no, it's not. It appears to be, because the waves is just an apparent superimposition. So there is no relationship really. So it does not really reverse, but it makes it appear that things are reversed from the standpoint of us, Jiva, because we say that the cat exists, the tree exists, space exists, and it makes it sound that existence is a property of objects, the same way in the scientific, because this is more the philosophical angle of Vedanta, but from the other aspect of Brahman, which is consciousness, the scientists or the people trying to understand, the psychologists or psychiatrists and every philosopher as well trying to understand the nature of consciousness, they make the same mistake. This reversal is equally so in relation to consciousness. Everybody believes that consciousness is a byproduct or property of the body-mind complex. They say, oh yeah, life is going to develop, and then these organisms are going to evolve, and then out of these organisms, there is consciousness. You understand? So they don't have the proper understanding because it's all reversed due to this power called Maya Shakti. Do you understand, Claudio? Anything, please, any contributions? You can say something.
When you say there's no relationship, isn't dependency a relationship? the snake depends on the rope. Satya depends on Mithya. So doesn't dependency equal a relationship of some sort?
Yeah, Mithya depends on Satya. And
yeah,
the snakes depends on the rope. But in order to have a relationship, the reverse should be right. You should say that Satya depends on Mithya and the rope depends on the snake. And then we really have a relationship, you understand?
Okay, I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because there is no relationship. There is no relationship. So we say that, Mithya depends on Satya, but Mithya is not real. Understand? Mithya is not real. So therefore, how is Satya going to relate with something that is as good as non-existent? You understand?
Yeah.
Good question, though. Maya has two powers, the concealing Avarana and the projecting Vikshepa. Avarana is not Tamoguna and Vikshepa is not Rajoguna. We're going to see more about that maybe later or next class. The Gunas come later in the evolution of creation, as we know. So space is going to bring about the other elements, and then Ishwara, Maya Ishwara is going to be producing a lot of different name and forms, configurations, and all of them coming from these three energies and the 5 elements, basic primary elements. And then every one of these configurations is going to evolve somehow, the process of evolution. And then we have a proper reflector, a proper object with a subtle body that is going to shine with reflected consciousness. So when that reflection of consciousness comes, and then we have Tamoguna and Rajoguna operating, because these 3 gunas, they refer to the relationship in that case of Maya, which projects and conceals reality from the point of view. And from the point of view of Vikshepa and Avarana, these 2 powers, but then when it comes into the mind of the experiencing knowing entity, the Jiva Atma, so he will have these gunas operating as projecting, and concealing the truth in regards to the nature of reality and the nature of the I, the self. So therefore, the Gunas is called Guna because it bounds the Jiva Atma, which is the human Jivas, the Jivas to samsara, because they can't really see clearly that the objects, they don't have value, that the values are projected by the Jiva, that the objects do not have their own existence, that the other sentient beings do not have their own consciousness, that everything is contained in conscious existence. So this reversal is so powerful that everybody is misled to see, in the opposite direction. And then we don't really understand. And then those energies, they become ropes that bounds, ties us in samsara, until we figure it out, you understand, with the help of the scriptures, of course. Vikshepa superimpose space on existence like a projector superimpose a move on a screen. Avarana hides existence. For example, we think a tree exists by itself, whereas it borrows its existence from existence. This unconscious mixture of existence and objects is called superimposition, adyasa. This unconscious mixture of existence and the objects is called superimposition or adyasa. So why it says it is unconscious mixture? Who is doing this mixture, So it's, again, this one refers to the Jiva Atma, because from the standpoint of Ishwara, there is no question of unconsciousness, okay? The Jiva Atma is unconsciously or subconsciously is going to get confused about the existence and the objects, about matter and consciousness, okay? And then it's going to be doing what? It's going to be superimposed Mithya and Satya, and Satya and Mithya. In this case, Satya, which is existence, is going to be superimposed on the objects, because we will say the objects exist as if existence is a property of the object. The same way we'll believe that the sentient beings, they have consciousness as, as a property of this matter. No? So this is a superimposition of Satya and Mithya in that case. Or Mithya, no, Satya and Mithya. So we have, we have Mithya, which is the object, we superimpose in Satya, and we say that Satya is a byproduct of the object. We don't realize that the existence of the tree is completely independent of the tree. So this is a nice statement as well, because we have a tree, and then we remove the existence of the tree. It's very philosophical, this discussion, by the way. If we remove the existence of the tree, so where is going to be the tree? There is no tree. Yeah. So, but if we remove the tree from existence, what's going to happen to existence? So existence is absolutely, completely independent of the tree. Yeah? So it's just, it's going to concede or land existence, no? And then Maya superimpose names and forms, and then names and forms, they appear to exist. And then we appear to exist as Jivatmas, and then we tend to believe that existence belongs to the field of Mithya, the field of the objects. But no, it's the very nature of everything is existence itself. We don't realize that the existence of a tree is completely independent of the tree. If you say a short woman, the shortness of the woman depends on the woman, but the woman does not depend on her height, of course. That we say shortness or tallness is a property of the woman, you understand? So a property of something, is something that, manifests out of something else, but the woman in this case is free and independent. So she does not depend on her height, because if something happens that she shrinks, or if something happens that she becomes very tall out of the blue, a woman remains a woman. Her womanness is free and independent. So likewise, the existence is free and independent of the tree, and the tree is free and independent of the table, but the table is made out of trees, not the same principle. Avarana gives us the impression that space exists on its own. It brings about a relationship between the substance and the property that is not there. So we have a substance, whatsoever substance, okay, any physical substance, and then every substance is going to present some properties, some properties. And likewise, we tend to see that this cup that has certain properties, glass has certain properties, okay? This one has a property of existing as well. Yeah? So, or space, which is the object in the discussion here, space being an object, okay? It's taken to be the substance. Okay, and then existence is taken to be the property. So the substance and the property, every substance has properties. The space is an object, and then we believe that the object, which is the space, has a property of existence, you understand? But existence is the absolute substance as we know, is the essential substance, yeah? The substantial nature of everything. The substance is a funny word because it has the connotation of matter/energy. So, but we know that the substance has properties, and the relationship between the substance and property is such that the property comes out of the substance. And in the case of Maya Shakti, it makes it sound that the object, okay, which is a property of existence, appears to be the substance producing existence, okay? So space and existence. So existence is the substance, space is the property or a byproduct, okay? But it appears that the reverse is such that the space is there, and then space becomes the substance, and space becomes the substance, and existence becomes the property due to this reversal. I hope I did not make much of a confusion. So this is the relationship. And again, I already established in the beginning that there isn't really a relationship between existence and the space, and there is no relationship between existence and anything, the same way there is no relationship between the robe and the snake. So when we find a relationship between the substance and the property, and which is not there, and then we can tell that we are being deceived by Maya, and that's the beginning of samsara, because we will live from this perspective of the reverse, and then we're going to believe that consciousness and existence is a byproduct of the objects. And when we say that consciousness and existence is the byproduct of objects, and then we are overrating all the objects, we're believing that they have not only the source of happiness, but they are the source of conscious existence itself. So this is the beginning of the run to accomplish, gain, and retain in avoiding, because we believe that the objects are the real deal. No, this is the beginning of the samsara. The beginning of samsara begins from this reversal power of Maya that dilutes us human jivas. This is why we perceive reality to be dimensional. It seems like space and the objects in it are out there, away from us, but they are just images manufactured by Vikshepa. So Maya Shakti, Maya's Vikshepa Shakti projects names, colors, and forms, three-dimensional forms, and then naturally we see them out there as images, because we take ourselves to be the body-mind, and then we see all other objects as out there three-dimensionally. So it seems that the space and the objects is accommodated, is all perceived to be out there, away from us, body-mind complex, without realizing that I am consciousness. And none of this is really happening out there, but it's all happening within conscious existence, my very nature. That's the bottom line here. Because they are just images manufactured by Vikshepa. Anything over there? The space is a product of Maya. Space has no nature of its own. It means when it says that space has no nature of its own, it means like space does not have existence of its own, okay? So the existence of space is not inherent to space, but it is landed from Brahman, landed from existence, consciousness. Satchitananda lends conscious existence to objects and creatures, okay? So space does not have nature of its own. Its nature, as you know, its very true nature, yeah, comes from Brahman itself. A substance cannot be produced. So the fundamental nature of something cannot be produced, because nature is that without which something cannot be what it is. So, and then it's not produced as a property or a characteristic or anything. It's just one's nature. So space does not have nature. It's a byproduct of Maya Shakti. It has no nature of its own, meaning to say it depends on existence and Maya to come into existence, okay? A substance cannot be produced. Science tells us that matter energy cannot be created or destroyed. For example, by matter, science means existence. By matter, science means existence. But because of Avarana, they do not know that that is what they mean. The production of something is merely an apparent addition. A sculpture does not add anything to the clay, but only shapes what already exists in the clay. Okay, let me read it again. So as we know, science says that nothing can be created or destroyed, and this is pretty much aligned with our scriptures. No? And when science talks about matter, it's referring to the existence of name, colors, and forms, the existence of phenomena. So matter is often said as such, because matter is existence, and it shows up as existence because it exists. It does not show up as consciousness, but it shows up as existence. Every matter is existence, treeing, existence, flowering, existence, catting, existence, dogging. So everything is existence. When we analyze matter from the angle of science, we analyze existence itself, but the scientists are not aware of it, okay? Because of Avarana. Avarana is going to reverse, and they are not going to understand very well what they are looking at, but they know that matter cannot be created, matter cannot be destroyed, and that says everything. What is something that cannot be created and cannot be destroyed? Satchitananda. Conscious existence is that which is beyond the beginning, middle, and end. That which is beginningless and endless, that which is beyond this timeline of beginning and end. So they have no real energy, real understanding, that they are just investigating and exploring existence itself due to this power called Avarana. Yeah? The production of something is merely an apparent addiction. So now there is a jump here to another concept, right? That a substance is the fundamental substance, is the fundamental substrate, or the fundamental nature of that thing. We have something, we need to say, what is the true substance here? So we have any piece of matter, what is the real substance in here, you know? And then we have to investigate it, you know, with those pieces of equipment to understand what is the real substance in there. And then we may find that there is a lot of neutrons and energies and space, and everything in the end is going to be reduced to space with some particles or energies moving around. So what is the substance? The substance, which is existence, which appears as matter, when we analyze matter, we see that matter cannot be created, cannot be destroyed, and it cannot be created in any case. You cannot produce something because it's merely is an appearance, is an addition. What is the addition? Addition of the form here. Addition is of the phenomenon called the flower, the phenomenon called the stone, the phenomenon called a crystal, the phenomenon called the earth. Anything we analyze in phenomenon that is never really produced, okay? Because it is already there, built into the elements. And then he brings that it's all an apparent addition of what? We shape things, and then we give it a name to form, but all forms coming from the elements, the subtle and grossified elements, and then we have all kinds of production. The production of something is just a superimposition of name and form. All ornaments of gold are just gold, and then we superimpose a form and the name, and then we say, okay, I have created something, I have produced something. Nothing can really be produced, but we can add a name and the form to things. A sculpture does not add anything to the clay, but it shapes it in a way, that what already exists comes into play. So there is a plate in the mind of sculpture or vase, and then it's already contained in the clay, but it shapes it, but he did not really add anything to the clay. They only shaped what already exists, because it exists as knowledge, a plate, a vase of clay. Okay, he just shaped it. There is no question of creating absolutely anything in the universe. It's just the names and forms are just being shaped by this power of Maya Ishvara, okay, of creating all these different configurations, beginning from the three energies and the basic elements. So all of that to bring us to the analysis, back to the analysis that existence is Sat. Existence is Sat. The flower and the tree is not Sat, but the existence of the flower, the existence of the cat, the existence of space is Sat, but the space is just a name and a form. The tree is just a name of a form, all done from all apparently produced out of the energy, the three energies and the five basic elements. So everything comes from the three energies, the building blocks of the universe. So a sculpture does not add anything to the clay, only shapes what already exists in the clay. Existence is the basic substance, which is Sat. Maya Shakti adds the name and the forms, Namarupa. There is only one substance in all objects of the universe, okay? So what is the substance? The substance is existence, consciousness. This is the real substance, but this word now is being used in a different context. So it's the true nature, the true substantial nature, let's say, which is not energy. Energy is Maya. Maya brings about this phenomenon, but the true substance, the true nature of everything is existence itself. There is only one substance. This substance cannot be created or destroyed. But Maya reversed the relationship between existence and all the products of Maya. So Maya keeps producing things, and then existence is there as the source, as the substance, as the nature of everything. Okay, everything is made from this basic nature called Satchit. But Maya reverses it, and then we start believing that the objects which were apparently create out of this substance, of this nature, which are just appearing superimposition of names and forms, namarupa. Now, these objects appear to be sat, and existence appear to be mitya. Right? Satya and mitya. Sat, reality, and then mitya, the apparent reality. Existence is now delegated to this second order of reality called mitya. Yeah? The field of properties and qualities and attributes of the configurations of Maya. So instead, existence is the base substance, it is Satya. Maya adds the names and forms. There is only one substance, which is existence. This substance cannot be created or destroyed. Maya reverses the relationship between existence and its products. It converts the existence into a property of the object, space. So it is going to convert the existence into a property out of the very object that comes out of existence consciousness. The objects are coming, but Maya is going to reverse it. So we believe that existence belongs to space. Such is the power of Maya, Shakti. Swami Paramarthananda says, we say space exists instead of existence is space. Yeah? We say the cat exists instead of saying existence is catting. Yeah? So, or existence cats, or existence appears as a cat. Yeah, it's yeah? So we say space is, or we say space is. Space is a known and an independent substance, but in this sentence, the word is used as a verb. Yeah? The space is. Yeah? An action word. So how can space? Just a moment. Or we say space exists. So if we say that space exists and instead of existence, space, or space existence. Space existence is to say that existence is appearing as space, isn't it? Mark, you have a better understanding of the English language. We say space exists instead of existence, space, or space.
I'm not hearing you, Mark.
Huh?
Sorry, my microphone was off. Yeah, he's just reversing it, like you say, he's just putting it into words. Existence spaces, spacey existence.
Space existence, yeah. What is the proper meaning of space existence? Which means existence is now,
existence and space existence would be a property of space, not space being a property of existence. If you see what I mean.
Okay, space existence is a reverse caused by Maya Shakti. And existence in space is not. Existence space is
existence in space is not.
The proper order. But when we say or space existed, because it almost made me believe that we say space exists instead of or space exists. Space existence is another example of space exists. No? It's on the same reverse. No? Space exists or space existence. So it means the existence has the property of spaciness, right? So this is Avarana reversing it. Instead, we should use existence is space. Yeah? So existence in the case is the non, is the substance. Yeah? And it appears as space, but it's all existence. Okay, so always say space is. In that case, space is a non, and an independent substance. But in the sentence, the word is used as a verb, an action word. So when we say that the mistake there is that we're using space, existence as a verb, it means to say that we are putting existence as a noun, and we say that no, the object as a noun and space as an adjective, né? as something, action, a verb, an action word. Yeah? Because then, okay, now I know how to exist. So, and then I exist, I am existing means to say it is a verb. Now, I exist, you exist, he exists, she exists. Yeah? And so we are using existence as a verb, which is an action word. Actions are always dependent on the object of the sentence, in this case, space. Yeah? So, and then we are putting existence as dependent on space, because existence now is an action word, is a verb, is a property of doing something such as existing. But we know that nobody can do anything to exist, because existence is the very nature of everything. So that's the bottom line. But here the isness sat, the superior independent principle, has become the action word. When we say space is, the isness, which is the independent principle of sat, an absolute isness of everything. So here the isness of anything includes space. Isness is the superior independent nature or principle. Okay, sat has become an action word, and a subordinate, and the subordinate principle, like space, has become the boss. And then space now is the one who believes that he can do an action of is, of be, of existing. Isn't it? Is that the logic?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Or another example, we say space is existent. Space is existence. Instead of using a verb, existence, verb, yeah, existence becomes an adjective. Yeah. So in that sense, it is correct. Space is existent, isn't it? We are not putting a word existence as a verb. So existence becomes an adjective, which also subordinates existence to space. Yeah, no, even that we are putting space as the boss and existent as an adjective, which is subordinate to space itself. Now, space has the power to be existent, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, an adjective is a describing word.
Yeah.
So when we say space is existent, that's describing space. So space, again, is the noun, and that's incorrect. It should be existence. Existence is space. No, it shouldn't be that either. But anyway, yeah, it's very confusing the way they use the words here.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, they've just changed space into either an adjective or a verb.
Yeah.
Sorry, they've changed existence into an adjective or a verb and made space the noun, which is the reversal.
Yeah, I think we got the sense of it. We got the logic right, after all. We treat existence as a verb or as an adjective. Yeah, exactly. We either treat it as a verb, an action word, or as an adjective. But it actually is a noun. Existence is not a part. In the sense, is the substance. No, it's a noun. It's the substance of everything. And then existence not being an adjective or action word like a verb, it's actually a noun. Existence is not a part or property of a substance. It exists. Here again, the substance word here is confused because before we are saying the existence is the substance. So it's the fundamental nature. Existence is not a part or property of any object, would be a better not to avoid confusion. Existence is not a part or property of any object. It exists before and after objects. Yeah, objects are born and objects die. It is the ultimate subject, of course, for Chitananda. If you say, I have a golden bracelet, you are caught up in Maya, because bracelet is not a substance. It's only a form of gold. If we say, I have a golden bracelet, we again caught into the reversal power of Maya, because the bracelet is not a substance, and golden is the adjective. No, it's the other way around. No, I have a golden bracelet. Bracelet is not a substance. It's only a form of gold itself. The correct statement is, I have bracelety gold. Yeah. It's confusing for anyone who does not have English as one's mother language. So
it's confusing if you do have English as a mother language as well. The way they use the word.
It.
Yeah.
I understand it, because bracelety, it becomes the objective, so it gives a property to the gold. So a bracelety gold, a ringy gold, how we say it. So it's understandable.
Yeah. In this way, gold becomes the noun. Gold should be the noun, and bracelety the adjective.
Yeah. The adjective. Yeah.
If you think you have a gold ring, you are wrong. You have a ringy gold. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See the pervasiveness of ignorance. This reversal of the substance and the property is brought about by Maya. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks as the self, saying, by my Maya, I will delude all beings. When you say the body is conscious, you are under Maya's spell. This is the most common confusion, people believing that consciousness is expanding, growing, and people refer all the time to their minds as consciousness, because they believe that consciousness is an individual phenomenon that is brought about. It's a byproduct of our body, of our brain. Consciousness is not a part or property of the body. Consciousness stands alone. Nobody understands this fact in the scientific or even in the spiritual world. People feel the need to make consciousness a property of matter, so they subordinate consciousness to the body. Viparyaya is a technical word for this reversal of subject and object. If a rope is taken as a snake, it's not a problem. But if a snake is taken to be a rope, that is indeed a problem. So we have this reversal. And I was going to make an example, but it's not appropriate because anyhow, if a snake is taken to be a rope, it is a problem. And then there is something from Ramji saying, I grew up in Idaho in the 50s. Our town was nestled between hot barren hills and the river valley, an ideal climate for rattlesnakes. What is rattlesnakes, Mark?
Rattlesnakes. They're those snakes which make a rattling sound.
Ah.
They swish their tail and make this click, click, click sound.
Okay. The rattler was an iconic creature. And in tourist shops, it was common to find plaster of Paris ashtrays realistic rendered in the form of coiled Russell snakes. I don't understand. I'm not going to try to understand this passage here around Russell snake. My brother and I scavenged bottles from the side of the road to augment our allowance. And one day I spied what I thought was a Russell snake, a stray. I don't understand anything of this. I will need you and
Okay.
and Lynn to explain this paragraph, maybe.
Okay. Do you want me to explain it now?
Please, the whole paragraph of Ramji.
Okay. He said, but basically, he said where he grew up, it was in a town in a valley where there was lots of rattlesnakes, and the rattlesnake was an iconic creature in that town, and so they used to make ashtrays which looked very similar to the rattlesnakes. And one day, his brother and he were outside looking for bottles, because in those days, I think in America, you probably could collect glass bottles and take them back and get a little bit of money for them. And he found what he thought was an ashtray in the shape of a rattlesnake. But when he went down to pick it up, it was actually a rattlesnake. So he was confused because they looked so similar. Okay, so when I reached down, the ashtray rattled and reared its head. In other words, the ashtray was the snake and it made the rattling sound.
Okay.
So basically, he did the reversal, is what he's saying. He was mistaken, thinking an ashtray was actually. He thought the rattlesnake was an ashtray.
Yeah. How could they make the Russell snake into ashtrays? In which way they?
I guess if you got a bit of clay and you made a coil shape and then you put a head coming up.
I understood. Now I understood. That was very confusing, but now I understood. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would shape it, an ashtray shaped as a snake. Okay. Got it. I understood. Now it became clear. Thank you. Okie dokie. So I guess we're gonna stop here. And yeah, so we stop here and we meet again next week. And we begin from here. Okie dokie. And if you hold on a moment, after we close our class, I would like to share something with both of you for 2 minutes. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my friends. We meet again next week. Or actually Thursday, this coming Thursday. Okay? Namaste. Bye-bye.